Hi everyone, I have been wanting to make this video for quite some time to share some of my past life memory and past life regression experiences that have helped me in healing throughout the years. Um, the first experience that I would say that I ever had with remembering past lives was a very early on childhood dream that I kept having repeatedly over and over again. I don't know, I think I was maybe like under 10 years old, somewhere around that. And I continuously had this dream where I was running and I find myself on a cliff and then I'm falling over the cliff. I always wake up before the end of this dream, but this was a reoccurring dream quite frequently as a child. I just remember going over a cliff and the fear that that was and things like that. So I didn't understand what that was until I was a little older, that that was actually more than likely a past life experience. And yes, I am afraid of heights. So one of the things I wanted to mention about this is I'm going to talk about past lives in three ways. I will share what that lifetime revealed. I will share the lesson that my higher self learned from that lifetime. And then I will also share whatever talents or personality traits that I feel I've retained from those lifetimes. So I've written down notes. So the reason why I sought out past life regression, this was years and years ago, was because I had an illogical fear. And that illogical fear was that every time someone that I cared about or loved would leave, let's say to go to work or to go grocery shopping or go to the park or whatever, I had this really, really irrational fear that that would be the last time I would see that person. Made no logical sense, but it was just like a very crippling, debilitating fear, and it kind of interfered with my daily life. So I went to a past life regressionist. She did hypnosis sessions, and I actually recorded that session. This was back when cassette tapes were. I don't know where that tape is. I wish I could have saved that, but it's the memories of that session are so clear in my mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the first lifetime that I visited in that session. And by the way, when you have a past life regression through the means of hypnosis, it's almost like a movie playing in your head. It's just like scenes. They can like stay, and then they can like fast forward, and they can go backwards. So it's just interesting how that happens. Okay, so the first lifetime I saw myself in a forest, right, just surrounded by a bunch of trees, and I looked down and I saw myself. I had a lavender colored dress on, very like medieval looking. And I also saw myself in this lifetime looking in a mirror. Matter of fact, I have seen myself in a mirror in dreams, visions, and regressions several times. I thought that was interesting. I was a very fair-skinned Caucasian woman with jet black hair. So I'm in this forest, and it's like a feeling of waiting for someone or expecting someone. And then I see a bunch of men coming like in a line on horses. And very clearly I saw draped over these horses was a white covering with a red cross on it. Now, keep in mind, when I had this session, I didn't know what that meant. I had to Google what that was. After the session, I discovered that this was the time of the Crusades, which was around 11th and 12th century. So I didn't know that at the time of the session. So anyway, I'm waiting for this person on a horse, and then I see the person. It was a man, and this man was my lover, or someone I was in love with, having an affair with. So he's a knight of some sort, or so. Then it fast forwards. I'm inside of a castle, or what appears to be a castle, very dark, stone walls, torches. And I am arguing with this same man because he wants me to leave my husband. Apparently, I'm married to someone who is in greater power or something like that. And I was unable to leave or unwilling. I'm not sure. The feeling was more like unable and not so much not wanting to. And this argument was very intense, and it was like in the hallway. We were meeting secretly or something, and I began to cry and feel bad and feel torn and frustrated and things like that. So then that end stops. I mean, that scene stops, and I find myself back in the forest. Like, but I'm not waiting. I'm just there, and all of a sudden, I feel hands from behind wrap around my neck, and I'm struggling, and I can see my feet kind of like struggling on the floor and stuff like that. And then, boom, I'm floating above my body. It's so weird because I see myself lying on the forest floor. I'm like sprawled out, and I have that lavender dress on, and I could see myself just sprawled out. I could never see who the person was that strangled me. So, like I said, I'm going to share 3 things about each lifetime. The experience, the second is the lesson, or what my higher self what has to reveal, and it's dying too early. Okay, so in that lifetime I died too early because I was murdered. So I took that fear with me over and over again, as you'll see. And the third thing I reveal about each life is the trait that I feel that I carried on, that's still a part of my basic soul. And that's my passionate nature. Okay, so the second lifetime that I went to in the same session appeared to be in the United States. I felt it was a big city like New York or something like that. I feel New York City very hard. So it's like the 1920s or 30s or something like that. And I know that because very, very clearly I could hear music playing on a radio, and it was very 1920s, 30s style music, which to this day I actually still enjoy. But anyways, I'm a housewife, and I see I'm wearing an apron, and I'm in the kitchen, and I have a very small child. I have a son. In this lifetime, I'm seeing this child like maybe 3, 4 years old, something like that. But I am married to an abusive man. Very harsh, very mean, and the only light in my life was my child, right? So again, the scene fast forwards, and I'm an old woman, and I'm lying in a hospital bed. And the person that's by my side is my son, who is now an adult. And by the way, yes, I did recognize this person from from someone I knew in this life. And if you excuse me a second, I'm going to close this door because every time I go to make a video, especially if it's outside or near outside, there's some sort of noise happening. So 1 second here. Okay. It's gonna get a little darker now, but I can't deal with the noise. All right, so I'm in this hospital bed, and I'm dying, and I don't want to die, and I'm crying, and I'm holding my son's hand, and I'm just bawling. I don't want to die, I don't want to die, I want to die. But then, of course, I die. Again, I'm above my body in this hospital bed, and I'm seeing my son just like laying over my body, crying, and the feeling of just not wanting to die. So what I feel like the lesson, once again, we're going back to that theme of not wanting to die or not wanting to leave my loved ones. And I believe I was shown these lives in this particular session because that's what my higher self knew, those particular lifetimes, to show me, to reveal to me where these phobias and these fears started at. Okay, the next one was, I would say, the thing is with this, I don't even know the year because I don't know much about military history and wars. I don't know if this was like the 40s or what, but I was a male, a young male, and I was in a brownish greenish soldier's outfit, and I'm at a dance, and I'm dancing with this girl who is my girlfriend, and I actually remember the name that I said in the regression. um, Her name was Lucy. So I'm dancing with this girl, and I know I'm going off to war, and it's just like a feeling of extreme love and affection between me and this girl. Again, it fast forwards to the time of my death. All of a sudden, I see myself in the dark. It's just darkness all around, and I'm underground. And I feel that there are men in front of me and in back of me, and we're like underground somehow, which later I discovered was in the trenches. Like I said, I had to learn about all this stuff because I didn't know what it is I was seeing. Um, I've never been attracted to the military or anything like that whatsoever. So we're in the ground, there's a feeling of suffocating and fear, and I'm hearing loud noises going off. And then once again, I'm floating above, but I don't see my body this time. This time I'm seeing lots of tropical trees and things like that, but just like fire and bombs and like explosions going off. Which obviously I died in some sort of war. Again, going back to the theme of dying early. And I really feel like from that lifetime I took the disdain of war and violence. I absolutely have no interest in the military. I don't like anything about war or the military or anything like that. And I believe I took from that also. There was also another one in which I was a Caucasian woman in what seems like Sweden or Germany. Full-figured blonde, but I feel that lifetime was one where I achieved happiness and fulfillment. I was running some sort of bed and breakfast inn type of thing, and there's just green hills and just beautiful, just lush green, beautiful landscape all around. And I'm running this little inn, and I'm baking a lot, and I'm seeing lots of breads and things like that. It's just a feeling of being happy and fulfilled. And from that lifetime, I believe I took my nurturing nature and my love of baking. Let's see. This lifetime was through another hypnosis meditation type of session where I was viewing past lives, and I asked with intention before going into this meditation to reveal to me something that I needed to learn still in this lifetime. So it starts out, I see this field, and I see that I'm on the top of a horse, and I'm riding very fast as horse. There's just nothing around but like canyons and like flat grass. This is feeling very Southwest pioneer days. And so I'm a male, and I'm riding this horse to a saloon or something like that, like a bar. I think this is a saloon. And I just see myself sitting at this bar with my other male friends, and we're all drinking and laughing, and just like I feel like I do this often, but I don't see anything else. I see that it's just socializing and laughing, and then going back to where I live, which I live alone in this lifetime in some sort of log type cabin. And then it just fast forwards into I'm an old man, and I'm a white man, and I'm lying in this bed by myself, and I'm wearing this long white sleeping dress thing, and I'm coughing into this handkerchief, and it's blood. It's just blood, and I'm coughing and I'm coughing and I'm coughing and I'm crying. You know, it's so weird because like it feels still fresh because this makes me emotional. And the feeling was that I was dying alone, and there was no one there. So the lesson that my higher self took was that I can't depend on others for my happiness. And this is something that I struggle with very early on in my life. I'm sorry. Oh, I did not think that this was going to happen. It just, when you have a regression session for yourself, you see how raw the emotions are still. because it's still in you and it's still a part of you. Um, the lesson was, don't depend on happiness, on your happiness through other people. And so I guess in this lifetime, my socializing and drinking was the only way I had happiness. I assume I didn't have any sort of, wife or girlfriend or anything. It's just a feeling of being alone and only being happy when I was with others. So this is actually a lesson that I've actually feel I have really worked on in this lifetime. I have embraced actually being an introvert in this lifetime and the isolation that sometimes you go through, or just the chosen isolation. I like being alone now, and I make myself happy and I love myself, and I don't depend on anyone to do that, because you can never depend consistently on other people to make you happy. This is just not realistic. Other lifetimes that I visited that were shorter, more like visions and dreams, is being um, looking in this sort of mirror and an ancient Egyptian type of woman, and I have a short braided wig on, and I'm wearing all blue, which later I discovered was usually the way people within the royalty caste system would dress. Which, of course, anybody that knows me knows that I love anything that's related to Kemet or ancient Egypt. So I definitely have kept that with me. Another one is being a Native American little girl, and not having a mother, but having a father that I was very close to, and having, in this one, I'm seeing myself near a river, and it's just a group of us. We're by the river, and we're doing our things. We're like washing and just communing with each other, and the feeling there was just of family and togetherness. And I forgot to mention in the lifetime that I was in the abused woman with the child, the son. What I took from that was my commitment to my children, and I feel this going on as a theme in this life too. Just that closeness to family and oneness. Again, the Native American little girl that I was, I took with me that feeling of community and just the indigenous spirituality that I've always related to. Just being one with nature and the universe and each other and the connectedness of that. So, there's so much healing that can be done with past life regression. I highly, highly recommend that you do this. There are various ways. If you can't get to, or you can't find or afford a past life regression session via hypnosis, you can do this through meditation. There are meditation videos that are available. Sometimes just comes to you in dreams, or where you are silent of mind. There are certain crystals that you can work with that help, especially amethyst, that can help you in retaining past life memories and reflections and things like that. So I highly recommend, as one of the forms of healing, and just introspect as to who you are and your soul, is to learn more about who you were in your past lives. Although we take these things with us, we do have to focus on this life, because there are things that we are here to do, but the core of who you are is always there. We wear these bodies like parts in a play. In this lifetime, I'm going to be this type of person and that person, and I'm going to do this and that, but you at your core is the same person. So I just wanted to share that with you. I don't want to make this video too long and drawn out, but anybody has any questions, you feel free to message me privately, and I will be happy to respond to you. I wish you nothing but blessings, peace, and introspection. Bye.